just had another Australia Day, a public holiday today. Hope you are enjoying it if you are at home. But it did pass with more debate, of course, around the day itself. There were various protests labelling it still Invasion Day or Survival Day. I've spoken to my political panel earlier today. Trent Zimmerman and Ed Husic both agree there is still some tension about the day. Neither of them are saying it should be moved, but perhaps there could be more recognition of what it means to other people, including Indigenous Australians, when Australia Day celebrations are formed.
When I was growing up, Australia Day would have been lots of reenactments of the first landing, whereas today it is a celebration of, firstly, our multicultural society, and that's really why citizenship ceremonies are the cornerstone of most Australia Day events. But also, when I was growing up, I was going to put a time frame on it, but when I was growing up, I don't think that you would have seen Indigenous welcomes to country and the role of Indigenous people in Australia Day celebration so central either. So, yes, we can do a lot more about teaching young people about our Indigenous history. I would argue that we can do a lot more about teaching young people about Australian history more generally, but I think it is better than what it was, a lot better.
I think we should use this as an opportunity to do what a lot of Aboriginal Australians want, which is to remember that while obviously British colonisation led to the birth of what we would, if I can use loosely the term modern Australia, you know, there were people here, the Aboriginal Australians that were here for tens of thousands of years beforehand and who had been impacted by that event in very significant ways. It's not like that we're holding people accountable for those things, terrible things that happened early on, but if we reverse the roles and if something that traumatic had happened to us, we would want to think, reflect, remember, and also just pay respects to those who'd gone through that.
So some agreement of sorts between the two major parties, at least those two backbenchers, on that topic. On Bridget McKenzie, well, not quite. Labor says that they are going to certainly continue to pursue Bridget McKenzie, saying this is a double standard.
There is a total double standard here. People in the community watching this, if they do one thing wrong in terms of submitting a form or not giving information on for a family payment or an age pension, people are made to feel like crims. You've got an A&O report here that in the most strongest terms has said that the way that this minister made these decisions was wrong in allocating $100 million and they're not accountable. And I think a lot of us are sick and tired of seeing minister after minister where they've made the wrong call, done the wrong thing, be it Angus Taylor or be it Bridget McKenzie, and not been held accountable for it.
Meanwhile, Trent Zimmerman says that Bridget McKenzie was just doing her job as minister, that in a democracy, a minister ultimately makes the decisions on where sporting grants go to.
We don't have greenfield sites for expanding sporting facilities, so anything that we can do to increase the capacity of our rec and sport's very important.
But doesn't that just go to the fact that it's important to hand out the money responsibly and according to what the independent body says, where the most needy projects are? That's what that argument's for.
Well, in a democracy, we elect governments to make decisions and we appoint ministers to make those decisions. And I don't support a system where ministers sit there as rubber stamps. They have the right, and in fact, I'd argue the obligation to be scrutinising recommendations from departments.